Greetings, I'm Rob Chapman and welcome to an insane amount of licks, chops, fun bits and bobs to play on the guitar, all courtesy of Boss, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. Without them, this would not be possible. It's going to take me days to get this filmed. You may see differing kinds of light out the window and differing amounts of facial hair on my face, but it's all worth it for the rock. I'm going to make it a mixture of blues, rock, metal licks, all of them in the beginner to intermediate camp. So don't worry if you are not a massively experienced guitar player. You certainly will be if you make it through this behemoth of a tuition video. Let me introduce to you the incredible Boss Katana 2x12 100 watt combo. It is incredible. I have two of them. You can actually link them and have them in stereo with the stereo expander on the back. It's got 4 separate patches that you can memorize all your settings to. You can get a foot switch and use that with the 4 different settings, which is what I have done. Loads and loads of Boss's effects, which of course are legendary. Loads of different amps, lots of bits. Really go and try one out, they're great. And if you don't want a 100 watt 2x12 combo, although why wouldn't you? They've got 1x12 combos, they've got heads, everything you need. They're really great amps. I own lots of them because I think they are fantastic amplifiers. I'll be teaching mostly with the crunch and the clean so that you really hear the nuances of the guitar. We're going to cut to a close-up cam so that you have all of the little details here on my Chapman Guitars ML1 Modern Standard, and I hope you enjoy this lesson. Hello! So I'm going to be giving you fret numbers all the way through this massive tuition video. And don't forget there are also fret markers on this guitar showing you 3rd fret, 5th fret, 12th, etc. So it should be fairly easy for you to navigate your way through this lesson. Just look at what I'm doing and try and mirror it on your own guitar. Don't forget, take it in chunks. You don't need to watch the whole video all the way through in one go. You can simply watch as far as you need to, pick out a lick, go home and practice the lick. That's what I would do if I were you. Okay, let's start with lick number 1, kind of a bluesy, simple thing. First finger, we're going to put it on the 5th fret on the G string. We're also going to press down with the same finger, the 5th fret B string below it. And we're going to play the G string, but we're going to bend that G string down slightly and then, while it's ringing, hit the B string. This is a classic, old, kind of cool blues trick that we can also bring into heavier rock stuff. Like that. So you hit the G string, pull it down, also pushing down on the B string underneath, and once you've plucked the G and bent with the first finger by turning your forearm, we're then going to hit the B string. Then we return that bend by hitting the G string again, and then land on the D string 7th fret. So you get this. Now with more of a rock tone, that would sound like this. That is lick number 1, nice and easy for you. You could experiment by sliding into this lick, which will sound really cool if you use a rock sound, a bit like my patch number 2. Let's move on to lick number 2. So we're going to take a similar concept of the first finger, this time on the B and the E string. We're going to play the B, then we're going to play the E. Then we're going to reach over to this 8th fret on the E string. Now, if you can use your little finger, that's fine. If you want to use your 3rd finger, that's also fine, but we want to bend it up. So better to use your 3rd finger if you can. So that's a little what we call a blues curl. It's almost a semitone, but not kind of quite. So, and then back, first finger to this 5th fret. Now that's a very traditional blues style lick. And the real key to making this lick sound authentic and nice is the vibrato on the very last note. You really want the tip of your finger perfectly behind the fret wire, not in the middle of the fretboard. And then you want to be turning your forearm to drive that first finger up and then releasing it to the natural note. So you really want a semitone wide vibrato. So the bend should go. So the whole lick like this. And don't forget, when you play the first two notes, it's fine to take your first finger off and find that last or third note. For the slight blues curl, when you're bending it, don't just use one finger, that'll be really difficult, especially with these 11 gauge strings. Put another finger behind you on exactly the same string, and the two of them can bend together, like this. And that bend is my forearm twisting like I'm opening a door handle. I'm not pushing my fingers like this. I'm simply turning my forearm, and it's allowing these fingers to travel up or down the fretboard. You see that? So that lick again. With a crunchy tone. Sounds really nice. Lick number 3. Let's adventure a little bit more into what we call a mode. This is a Dorian lick. And what we're imagining is that we're playing over a 2 chord in G. So here's G. Here's the 2 chord, which is an A minor. Now, we could be playing A minor, B minor, C major. These are all in the key of G. But over this A chord, if we're playing an A Dorian groove, maybe something a bit like... I've got a lick for you, and it simply goes power chord, and then first finger comes down to this 5th fret on the G string. So you've got root, 5th, and then up here, this 5th fret G string note, which is a minor 3rd. Now, we're going to do that's following the chord. We're going to do exactly the same thing on the next chord. And then we're going to follow the next chord, that major chord. You're going to see a pattern here. It's a major 3rd this time. I'm literally playing notes from the chord. So. Sounds great. Now, you don't have to play that fast. You can play it slow, you can soar with it, you could play it with a heavy rock tone, maybe with an octave, like this. Doesn't matter how you choose to play it. I'm enjoying my buttons, sorry. As long as you play it appropriately. So if the rhythm is going... follow the rhythm with the lick. That's lick number 3. I wonder how many languages I can get through with these different lick numbers. Okay, moving on to lick number 4. Let's pull out an absolute classic for you. Something that is a little bit simple, but also very, very classy. Sometimes bending is really cool, and sometimes not bending is even cooler. Here is an example of not bending. So I could have gone, but instead of doing that, I did the cool, and it sounds really awesome. So all we do, again, we're in A minor blues, or A minor pentatonic, and we simply take this 7th fret on the G string, we pick that note and slide it forward and then back again. And you want to practice your accuracy with this slide. And And then we're going to put our first finger on the 5th fret of the same string, the G string, and pull off to it. We're going to walk down the scale, so to the D string with the 3rd finger on the 7th fret. And then put the first finger across the D and the G string, pushing down D and G both at the 5th fret. We're going to hit both of those strings, D and G, and then hammer on with our 3rd finger to the D string, 7th fret. And then finish off A string 7. So you get... And this... I don't know what you would call it, but it's a bar across these 2 notes on the 5th fret D and G string, and then hammering that 3rd finger on the 7th fret D. It's such a classic blues sound. We're going to be doing a bit of that in these lessons. Let's try that one with a heavy sound. Sounds great. Okay, next lick. This is going to be more of a metal rock kind of vibe. We're in E using pentatonic scales. So pentatonic scale 1. Right at the top, we're going to be doing this interesting economy picked pattern. Take the first finger, place it down on the 12th fret on the B and the E string. We're going to pick the E string, 12th fret. We're going to hammer little finger on the 15th fret. So you get this. So down hammer. And then you pick up on the B string, 12th fret. You see, it's a repetitive pattern. We're going to exploit this here, repetitive pattern. We're going to move down 2 frets and do the same thing in pentatonic position 5, which looks like this. So you get this. So exactly the same thing, I'm just using my 3rd finger on the 12th fret rather than that 15th fret. So far you've got this. Now instead, if you wanted to, you could pick everything. You could go down, up, up, and it sounds a little bit different. Once you've done this position 5, here's 1, you could go to 2 and do the same shape as 5. So we're starting on the 15th fret, first finger pressing down both of those and using the 3rd finger on the 17th fret E string. So you get this. That lick is going to sound awesome over anything in E minor, kind of like this. Next lick, again in E minor, we're going to be doing something really simple that starts low and then moves a little bit higher. So we'll start with the open E string. We're going to hammer on that 3rd fret. We're going to play the open D string. First finger to the 2nd fret D string. Slide that along to the 5th fret. Give it a blues curl and then land 7th fret A string. So that you get this kind of thing. Here it is with the crunch tone. Another lick in E minor, the key for the people. So we're gonna exploit something called dissonance in the guitar. This is really cool, and it's only really audible when you start adding a little bit of crunch or distortion. But check this out. We're going to start on the 5th fret B string. We're going to hit that note and the open E string underneath it. So they are both the same note, but we're hitting them both at the same time. We're then going to slide up to the 8th fret and we're going to bend it a semitone. Now you're going to hear magic when you add a little bit of crunch or a little bit of distortion. From here, Third finger comes over to this 9th fret G string. Pull off to the 7th fret G string. And then we're going to go 9th fret D string, and we're going to slide right back. See that? I picked it and slid. First finger, 5th fret, and then finish on the A string 7. So that it sounds like this. And with crunch, check this out. The more gain you add, the more that dissonance will be evident between the two notes. Let's do something major for a change. Over a 4-5-6 progression. A major chord, and a minor chord. Something like this. So over these major chords, you can do this really cool lick. You can place down 3rd finger on the 7th fret D string, 2nd finger on the 6th fret G string, and 1st finger on the 5th fret B string. So kind of 3 in a row. Now what I'm doing is using a plectrum and then 2 fingers to pick, pluck, and pluck. Makes it nice and easy. Sliding is optional. Once you've picked all 3 of those, we're going to pick again that D string note, and then put the 1st finger down, covering the B and the E string, and we're going to strum both of those strings and hammer on and off the B string at the 7th fret. And then 2nd finger, G string, 6th fret. So that you get this. See that? And you can take it up to the next chord. You can either hammer and pull, or you can pick, hammer, and then pick again. So the last one, just for the minor, we're changing the shape of our chord. We're going 11th fret, we're going 9th and 9th. So we've got 11th fret, 9th fret, 9th fret. And for the hammer and pull, we're just going to be using little finger on the 12th fret and then off again. Or you can do 12th fret B string. Either of them sounds great. So the whole thing would be like this. Or you can play any minor blues lick whatsoever. Here's a nice, easy minor blues lick. We're going to be playing in the key of B. So we're going to start with a little 2-note chord. We would call a 2-note chord a dyad. We've got our 3rd finger on the 9th fret G string, and our 1st finger on the 7th fret B string. To begin with, we're going to pick that G string note, leaving both of these fingers in the shape we have down at the moment. We're going to slide the whole thing back. When we get back 1 tone's distance or 2 frets worth of travel, we're going to pick that B string note. So far it should sound like this. Once you've slid back and picked that B string, we're going to re-pick the G and slide back up again. So you get G string, slide, B string, G string. Hear that? And to end it, you're just going to put your 1st finger on the B and the G string, pick the B, pick the G string, give it a little blues curl, and finish with your 3rd finger on the 9th fret D string. So the lick should sound like this. sounds great when you've got a little bit of crunch on the guitar. Here is a really cool, interesting A minor blues lick. We're using position 4 A minor pentatonic, which looks like this. And we're going to be using a sweep to begin the lick. So we're using third finger on the 14th fret G, second finger on this 13th fret B string, and the first finger on the 12th fret E. So you're going to sweep all the way down, like this. Try and make it one fluid action, a bit like you're painting the strings with a paintbrush. Then we're going to take third finger up to the 15th fret on the E string. Then next finger back, we're going to go 14th fret. Bring the third finger up to this 15th fret B string. First finger, 13th fret B, with a slight blues curl. Second finger up on the 14th fret G string. So the whole lick looks like this. And it sounds like this. Which sounds great with a little bit of crunch in the neck position. Here's a nice blues lick in the key of E minor. We're going to start in position 5. We're going to put our first finger down on the 11th to 9th fret D and G string. We're going to be using the little finger, once we strum both of these strings, to hammer down on the D string 12th fret. If you find that difficult, it might be your wrist position is not sunk. You need to sink your wrist down to allow you access to that kind of stretch with the little finger. Once you've strummed and hammered on that 12th fret D string, you're going to put the little finger on the 12th fret A string, pick it and slide up a tone. First finger on the 12th fret D string, and then roll that first finger down to get the G and B string, give it a little pull, and then we're going to land on this 14th fret D string. So the first finger does this cool thing where once you've done the little finger slide, it hits that D string 12th fret and then gets the 12th fret for the G and the B. It is being useful for us. Sounds great with either high gain or bluesy crunch. Here's a bit of high gain. Here's a really sweet E minor blues pentatonic lick, which takes something that is kind of traditional and then adds a little spin on it. It sounds like this. Really nice. So we take two fingers, second and third finger, put them on the 12th fret on the D string and the B string, and we do the classic D string, sliding the formation and then play the B string. So normally when you play that, you would slide it back afterwards like this. And that sounds great, but what I'm suggesting you do is this. So I'm leaving the little finger down and doing a little tiny bend. It's not quite a semitone, it's a blues curl. And the easiest way to pick this is to use the plectrum for the D string, then use two fingers to pluck the B and the E. So you kind of load it up in advance with these fingers resting on the strings. And then first finger 12th fret, and then I'm going to go 15, pull off to the 12, back to the 15 and bend it up. Like this. rest with a nice crunch. Here is a nice, easy E minor pentatonic blues lick. We're going to start with position 3, which looks like this. We're going to simply bend the G string at this 7th fret. I'm going a whole tone. I'm putting my thumb over, I'm using 2 fingers to bend, and this first finger is just touching the strings above to make sure that I don't bend into any other strings and make unwanted noise. And then we're going to bring the first finger down to the 5th fret on the B string, and then little finger reaches out to the 8th fret B string, 5th fret E string, and then back with the little finger on the 8th fret and pull off to the first finger. Same position, E minor pentatonic position 3. We're going to take advantage of a cool little rolling shape using the flat 5th blues interval. It's really cool. First finger, we're going to leave it down on the A and D string at the 5th fret. We're going to take our 2nd and 3rd fingers and we're going to take advantage of this hand position. We're going to pick the open E string. We're going to hammer down at the 6th fret with the 2nd finger, and then we're going to hammer on again at the 7th fret with the 3rd finger. So far we've got this. We're then going to pluck the A string and the D string note we've got held down by this first finger. So what I'm using is a plectrum for the E string, and then these 2 fingers for the A and the D string. We're then going to put our 3rd finger on the 7th fret D string and slide it up a tone. So far you've got this. First finger, 7th fret G string. And then we can just finish off up 2 tones with the 3rd finger and let it ring. Sorry about the text messaging. And here is with a ton of awesome gain from my katana. Well, I'm going to have to charge my batteries fairly soon, but let's do another couple of cool licks. Here's a pedal point lick in E minor. We're going to be using position 4 pentatonic scale in E minor. So if you imagine you've got 1, your classic blues scale, and then 5 is behind you, then 4 is here. So here's the lick. So I'm using this E note, which is on the 9th fret G string, and I'm pedaling back and forth from that note to other scale notes. It's easiest if you use your 2nd finger on the 9th fret G string, and then little finger comes up to this E string at the 10th fret. Now I'm always using my plectrum on the E note on the G string, and the others I'm going to be plucking with my fingers. You could use a pick, but it's slower and it will have a different kind of a sound. So I would much rather you went pick and then pluck, pick and then pluck. So anyway, 9th fret on the E string, so pick the pedal note, then pluck that scalar note. Then you can go to your 3rd finger on the same fret as our root note. So that's the 9th fret on the E string. And then 1st finger on the 7th fret E string. And then little finger on the 10th fret B string. And then 1st finger on the 8th fret B string. We're going to bend that up. And then back to the root note. So you get... This is really cool as either a blues lick or kind of a heavier rock / metal lick. Here's a cool blues lick in A minor. Actually, this is from one of my own tunes. This is from a tune called Turn Off the Sun. It's in position 1 in the key of A minor. Sounds like this. Let me break it down for you. We're going to be using the 7th fret on the G string. We're going to bend it up a tone. Put the first finger down on the B and the E string, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to pluck them with our fingers. We're then going to go to the B string, 8th fret, pull off to the first finger. We're then going to go back to that 7th fret on the G string and bend it and return it. So I've bent it up and then let that bender return back to the natural note. First finger to the 5th fret G string, and then step down the scale. So D string, 7th fret, first string, 5th fret, first finger, 5th fret, and then A string, 7th fret. And again with crunch, that sounds really nice if you back it off. Here's a really cool pull off to the open string rock / blues lick. Just using the B string. We'll start off on the 5th fret B string. And we're going to pick that note, hammer down either a little finger or a 3rd finger on the 8th fret, then pull off back to that first finger, and then pull off from the first finger here to the open string. So you get. Now see if you can do that a few times to get into the flow of how it feels. So I'm not picking it each time. So once you've managed the first position, where you were hammering down, put your first finger there and do the same thing using this fret at the 8th, but also using the 10th fret on the B string. Once you've done that, again, put your first finger where the 3rd finger was. We're going to be doing the same thing with the 12th fret and this 10th fret. Again, put the first finger where the 3rd was, and we're in position 1, kind of home. We're going to be using 15th and 12th. So the whole thing looks like this. And you can finish it with a bend. Now, if you add gain, it sounds awesome. Make sure that you cover the strings you're not playing with the underside of this hand to mute them. Otherwise, they're just going to ring out for you. Okay, here's a really cool modal outside sounding suite. It's mainly pentatonic with a few extra notes added in. We're going to do this one in the key of E. Really simple. We're just going to make a power chord, so 12th fret and 14th fret. And then the same thing again, 12th fret, 14th fret. But then all the way down, 12th and 12th. And then 3rd finger on the 14th fret, on the E string, and bend it up a semitone. So that you get this. Now, you can play this sweep over any minor chord. So, for example, if you've got a 2 and a 3 chord, maybe you're going over the 2 chord and over the 3 chord. Sounds great with gain, but you can also play it without gain if you want to. Here it is in E. Now, it doesn't need to be fast. It sounds really cool if you play it fast, but it also sounds great if you play it slowly. So practice slowly to begin with. Try and get your right hand to just glide through the strings, build the speed up, and eventually if you can go fast, that's great, but don't worry if you can't. Let's take a look at a really cool A minor pentatonic climbing lick. This is something that I use quite a lot. I really enjoy doing it. We're going to start in position 1 in A minor. We're going to start with our 3rd finger on this 8th fret B string, and we're going to do a little bend. That's a whole tone, and then 1st finger on the 5th fret, play that note, and then back to the 8th fret B string, pulling off to the 1st finger on the 5th fret. So you get this. Now, we're going to be taking this through some of the different pentatonic shapes. So this is position 1. We shift up to position 2, and we just play the note, don't bend it, with a little bit of vibrato. So we're using the top part of position 2, so 10th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret. So we play the note, but you play it twice as if you were bending it. And then we're going to go up again, this time to position 3. So now it helps if you use your 2nd finger, 12th fret E string. So I'm using 12, 10, and then when I come down, I'm using the 13th fret on the B string. And then one more slide up to position 4. We're going to go 15th fret. You see how it all connects together? I've gone from position 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And this really shines if you use it with gain. You can do it clean, it will sound kind of country, which is kind of cool. And with gargantuan amounts of katana gain, it will sound something like this. Here's a cool lick in Mixolydian. We're going to be playing in E, so an E7 chord. Or you could do whatever inversion works for you. But this sits over an E7 chord, and the lick sounds like this. I'll do that again. It's a really nice sounding lick. So you can slide up or just start on the 12th fret E string with your 2nd finger, because the major 3rd is on this 11th fret at the A string. So we're going to go from 12th fret E to 11th fret A, then slide it to the 12. So, and then hammer down on the 14th fret with your 3rd finger on the A string. And then we're going to go 12, 14. Now flatten down your 3rd finger to catch the G string underneath it, and we're going to pluck or pick the 14th fret G string. And then 2nd finger plays the 13th fret G, and we're going to bend it a semitone with the 1st finger behind. This sounds great with gain. Okay, I'm going to tap out this humbucker, and we're going to play a really cool Dorian blues lick in the key of A. Sounds like this. So we're going to be using some of the fingers. You don't have to if you don't need to. You can just use a pick. So 4th fret and 2nd fret prepared and held down on the G string. We're going to pick that 4th fret and pull off to our 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. Pull off to the open G string. And then do the same thing on the D string. So 4, 2, 0. Now we're going to go to the 3rd fret on the A string with our 2nd finger, pull off to the open string, and then the 1st finger comes down the 2nd fret G string. Let that ring at the same time as that open A string, and it's going to sound really cool. When you apply a little bit of vibrato to that, here it is with a nice crunch tone. I'm going to throw in a curve ball. Here is a semi-requirement for dexterity E minor pentatonic, pattern of 6, shred lick. So if you've made it this far, then definitely going to be a good one to test your finger dexterity. It sounds like this. And this is how you play it. Let's just do E for the sake of being easy. 12th fret. We're going to climb up 6 notes in this scale. Easy as that. So just the pentatonic scale in E, 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 14. But once you've, these are all picked and hammered, by the way. So pick, hammer, pick, hammer, pick, hammer. And because you've picked down with each one of these, when you get to the D string, we just pick up and start the pattern again from the A string. So it's down, hammer, down, hammer, down, hammer, up. Hammer, down, hammer, up. Hammer, down, hammer. You see the pattern? So it's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But then you pick up and start another 6 from the A string. And then you pick up and start another 6 from the D string. And then you pick up and start the final 6 from the G string. So the whole thing would sound like this if I played it slowly. Hopefully that wasn't too difficult for you and you are now blisteringly speeding around your fretboard playing this silly lick. Something a little bit more advanced. It's a run, it's a bend, and then it's some interesting bend finesse that we're going to try and learn. Here's how it looks and sounds. So the hard part is this. But don't worry, if you practice it again and again, you will eventually get the hang of it. So we're in position 5, moving to position 1, moving to position 4, all pentatonic in the key of A, the key for the people. So 3rd fret to 5th fret. We're just running scale for this part. And then 3rd fret to 5th fret, again A string. Slide along a tone. And then we're going to go 5, 7. 5, 7 on the G. 5, 8. And then bend that a tone. Now, from this bend, you can return it, slide all the way up to position 4, 15th fret, B string, and then bend that a tone. So that should sound. As long as you leave your finger on the string, it will have that sliding, cool sound. And then when we come down from this bent note, that's what I want to hear. That. And then we're going to go 13 with a blues curl, and then 14 to finish on the G string. Better if you leave your hand off. So. There you go. It's actually a lot easier than it looks. Give it a go, and it sounds great with a bit of crunch. Here's another transporting a bend kind of lick. So we'll start with a bend, 12th fret on the B string, up a whole tone. Transport that bend, slide it to the 15th fret B string, up a whole tone. Then we're going to do a really cool picking figure, which goes 12th fret, E string, up, so that was down pick, so now up pick, 14th fret, and then carry that up pick up to the 15th fret B string. So that's down, up, up. And then we're going to go first finger, E string to B string. If you find it hard to get both those notes, roll the finger a little bit. And then 15th fret B string. And then we're going to go 14th fret G string and bend it. So that last figure is... And the picking is down, up, up, down, up, down, up. You could actually use that last part as a really cool repeating pattern, but here's how the whole thing sounds with Searing Katana game. And you could use... Here is something in A minor or Aeolian mode. Here's the scale shape that I'm taking inspiration from. And I'm starting right at the top, doing a little figure that comes down. This is how it sounds. It sounds really sweet over the A minor. So we'll start 17th fret on the E string with the third finger. And you can either pick these both up if you want, or down up. It doesn't really make a difference. So from that one little note on the E string, we're going to go first finger, 15th fret on the B string. And then slide down one tone, 2 frets. And then the same thing again, but the slide is a semitone. And then from here, we go second finger, 13th fret on the E string. And then the same 12th fret B string down a tone. So you got this. Sounds really good if you speed it up and put it over A minor. I hope that was educating, fun, interesting, a little bit different for you. I think I've grown about an extra inch of facial hair throughout that, and it's definitely gone from daytime to pretty much late evening. So it's time to go and cook a giant roast dinner, British style, with a lot of potatoes. I prefer to parboil them and then roast them in olive oil and then let them cool down and then roast them again. It's the second roasting that really gets them proper. I want to say a massive thank you after my potato dialogue to Boss. I highly recommend that if you haven't checked out a katana, you go and try one ASAP. Pretty much everybody in my social group has one or two of them, and we use them gratuitously. It's nice to see you. Take it easy. I'll see you later. Bye. Chappers out. Damn, this is a great guitar.